Hello, and welcome back to the High Ticket Sales 2026 podcast for coaches and healers. I'm Heather Wylde. In this episode, I am talking all about high ticket, high conversion, no pressure, transparent, honest sales for 2026. If you're a coach or healer that saw your sales slow down or just get a lot harder in 2025, don't worry about it. Happened to everybody. You can go back to episode 0 where I give more of the causes and why what shifted in buyer psychology and buyer behavior. But for this, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into what's working in 2026. So this is all about how to get more high ticket sales and high ticket clients in 2026. And you don't have to be pushy or salesy. This high vibe, honest, transparent sales combos that I'm going to be teaching you, you can use this in the DMs. It works even better on calls, and it converts 3 times better than the pushy stuff. And yeah, it's more better. Okay. This could also be called how to boost your funnel conversions, because people aren't buying strictly from automation and funnels anymore, or they're slower to convert, and those funnels aren't working as well. So if you add in the automation plus some personalized selling, so actually talking to people in the DMs in a very high vibe, honest way, no pushiness, you can actually make a lot more sales. Okay, but I'll be talking about funnels and automations and what's changed in that in another episode. Okay, so why don't people like sales calls? In the beginning, when I first started getting into online business in 2013, everybody was doing sales calls and everybody was selling in the DMs and cold pitching in the DMs, and it was gross. But and a lot of people really got burned out because mentors were teaching us that sales is a numbers game, that it was all about getting as many leads as possible and then trying to get as many people on sales calls and just trying to force and be pushy and get anybody that would buy to buy. And that caused a lot of problems. For number one, you're getting on too many calls, it's taking up too much of your work week, because you're doing the scattershot lead gen. You're getting a lot of unaligned leads. So a lot of those people don't even show up for the sales call. When you get on the sales calls, you don't have the sales skills. You're on the calls with the wrong people. So you're hearing a lot of no's and objections. It's not a good scene. And if you're not comfortable being pushy, then you're going to end up closing maybe 10% of those sales calls. So you're doing 10 sales calls just to get one sale. It's not efficient, and it doesn't feel good to get rejected that much. Okay. But the way that I created of selling, and the thing that I teach to my clients and then help them customize, right? Because I don't expect anybody to sell exactly like me, is that you only get on calls with people that are 90% likely to buy. And the way that you do that is that you learn how to pre-qualify and you learn how to rapidly nurture people. And the way that you do that is through what I call a breadcrumb trail offer suite that is optimized for your ready to buy leads. And so it's offers that give them easy ways of getting on your client path, and then little bite-sized experiences where they can test out your method, they can test out what your chemistry is like in working with them. And by the time they've already been through your lower tier offers, 1 or 2 of your lower tier offers, then they're really comfortable with you, and it's a lot easier to for them to say yes. They feel safe saying yes to a higher ticket offer. And if you have a rapid lead nurturing system, these are both things that I'm going to be talking about in separate episodes, then you can nurture people from cold leads into low ticket buyers and then high ticket buyers in as little as 2 weeks, once you have the whole system set up and optimized. Okay, so that's how you can be really picky, and you're only getting on calls with people that are highly likely to buy, and then you're closing 60% of them instead of only 10 or 20%. So way, way, way better. And the second thing is that I call this the aligned as fuck sales method. And so you're only going to get on calls with people who are highly likely to buy, and you're going to consult on the calls, not sell. So the vibe is not convincing, it's not pushing, it's really trying to figure out if this person is the right fit and if it's, and if they're ready. Okay. So what does this actually look like actually on a discovery call, sales call, strategy call? I don't know. They have a bunch of different names. I just like calling them sales calls because that's what it is. I feel like when you're calling them anything else, it's kind of disingenuous, but that's just me. Okay. So on, if you want to have high converting sales calls, if you want to get more conversions in 2026 and really build that trust, start off the coaching or healing package on the right foot, then the first thing first is that you're very clear about this being a sales call. That's why I just call it a sales call. Or call it a consultation call, right? Don't tell somebody it's market research. Don't tell them that it's just a coffee chat or a networking call. Be very upfront. You're booking this because you want to talk about getting into my program, right? And at the beginning of the call, reiterate that. And when you do that at the beginning of the call, when you're just like, hey, don't do like a ton of chit chat, like get on, hi, nice to talk to you. Okay, great. I just want to make sure that we're both on the same page. You're calling, or we're talking today because you're interested in getting in my program or this offer, and like say the name, right? And that makes it like everybody can relax, like everybody knows exactly what's going on, and there's no like awkwardness when it's time to pitch, right? Because you've stated from the start, like, this is what this is about, and they agree to it. And then if they're like, no, I didn't know it was a sales call, then you don't waste their time and you don't waste your time, right? So just be very transparent about why you're getting on a call. That's also doing this and being very upfront, your name, your company, what is the purpose of the call? That is also Federal Trade Commission, FTC guidelines. That's also like the law, the rules, right? For you to have to stay compliant. And I am not a lawyer, but I did take a course in FTC compliance from a very good FTC lawyer. So that was one of the tips, but it's also just a good thing. It's a good thing for high conversion sales. It's a good thing for high integrity sales. Just be very upfront about what the call is about. Okay. When you're talking to people, and I'm going to talk more about like your target market in the next episode. So when you're talking to people, you want to make sure that you are not just reading some generic script, some generic proven script that your last business coach gave you. You want to make sure that you're asking questions that are actually customized to help you quickly identify who is a highly qualified lead versus somebody who is not going to be a good fit, right? So that you can just be really honest about it. And when you're asking these customized questions instead of some general script, you're going to get your sales calls can be shorter. That's another thing people hate about sales calls is they get on them and they're on them for like an hour. And if you've done your pre-qualification and you're nurturing well and you have good sales skills and a good like sales flow, you can close high ticket clients in 30 minutes or less, right? Okay, so you're gonna ask customized questions, and the whole vibe again is not about proving to them or convincing them or pushing them. The vibe is, hey, we're two adults and we're talking about your goals and what you what they're desiring and what challenges they're having, and does it make sense for you to work together, right? So when you are asking these really good questions, and then you're coming at it from this place of like, let's see if this really makes sense, that vibe really puts them at ease. So at the end of the call, if they are actually a good fit, then you pitch. If they're not a good fit for the offer that they're talking about, maybe you have some things that would suit them better, right? So you pitch something different, or you refer them, right? You refer them out, or you just say, sorry, I'm not the right person for you, right? But if they are the right person, then you pitch. And when you say, hey, I really think you're a great fit for my program, I can see you getting really great results, they trust that, because they can tell that the sales process wasn't about convincing them, pushing them. It was about really figuring out if they're a great fit, right? So the vibe of the call is very different. It's much more relaxing on the seller. I know that when I flipped this from, trying to like make someone, not make somebody buy, but like trying to convince somebody, to just leaning back and being more like, do I want to work with this person? Does it make sense for this person to work with me right now? It lowered my anxiety significantly, and your confidence is a big part of what can help you make more sales. So you're only pitching if they really think they're going to get good results, and that helps them to relax. Okay, don't overcome objections. Don't overcome objections. That's how you end up with shitty clients. That's how you end up with people asking for refunds. That's how you end up hating your business and forsaking your calling. Okay, so just don't do it. I will probably do a separate video about the whole concept of objections, but basically, instead of overcoming them, gaslighting people, shaming them, guilting them, scaring them with like crazy FOMO about, if you don't buy now, if you don't buy from me, you're going to be screwed, right? Like, it's so gross. And this that used to work on people. It doesn't really work on people now. I mean, people are wise to the whole like manipulation game, and they will just turn around and run, right? So it's probably not going to get you sales, and if it does, it's bad for your business. But there's a way of talking to people with empathy and emotional intelligence and addressing concerns instead of trying to overcome objections, actually help you get a lot more sales and help you have like higher quality clients, help you start off your coaching or healing relationship with them on a much like more high vibe, more productive note. Okay. Don't offer a nervous system wrecking fast action bonus. Okay. Don't, have your program, say your program is $20,000, but if they buy in the next 5 minutes, it's 10,000, right? That is going to push people to make crazy decisions, right? That's going to get you underlying clients. It's going to get people that bail or ask for refunds. And it's actually considered a predatory sales practice. Is another thing that can get you in trouble with the FTC. And the FTC is in the US, but if you are whether or not you're in the US, your business is in the US or not, if you're selling to people in the US, then these laws apply to you, and you can have a lot of problems if you're not following them. I have a few videos about that. Maybe I'll put those in the description. So, and then, kind of in that same vein, like you can use fast action bonuses, but don't, make it like if they buy in the next 48 hours, and don't make it, some crazy super discount. Like make it something sane that's going to help people, make a faster decision, but they'll actually have time to actually really go check their bank account, move money around, do whatever they need to do. It's not going to like fry their nervous system. Okay. And, don't try to force a close on the sale. Like, it used to be really popular, and some people still do this, where they will just like hold you hostage on a sales call and like try to force you to buy. And, don't do that. Like people don't respond to it very well anymore. It used to work, doesn't really work now, but also like you're going to end up with underlying clients. You're going to end up with people that will ask for refunds, will ghost you, will go through the whole program but be a pain in the ass, go through the whole program and just not get any results, right? And then you get bad reviews and stuff. So don't try to force a close on the sale. Force a close on the call. And there's ways where you're not like having to like follow up with people for months. Like if you've got the systems, here's the thing. If you really want to sell in 2026, you need to be selling with honesty and transparency. That's what's going to work best. That's what is working best. It's what worked best in 2025. But the only way that you can sell and make consistent high ticket sales now is to be getting really great leads and have like these other systems that I'm going to be talking about in the rest of the podcast, set up and optimized so that you're getting really high quality leads, because you can convert low quality leads, people that aren't really aligned, if you're willing to like go to the dark side and do what I call sociopathic selling, where you're just like guilting and shaming and everything. But if you want to sell and not have to be an asshole, then you need to have these other systems set up. So make sure that you're tuning into the rest of the podcast. So, and you can use kind of these same things in the DMs. If you don't want to do sales calls, if you are able to make sales in the DMs, maybe your sales slowed down in 2025 and you're watching this because you want some better strategies for 2026, you can use this same kind of stuff in the DMs. I like calls because I am really good at reading people's facial expressions and body language, and listening to like the tone of their voice, the speed of their speech and everything. And these are all things that I help my clients with. And it's one of the reasons why my sales close rate is 60+%, because I can like kind of read between the lines and I can see what they're not saying, and it allows me to use my empathic abilities, use my intuition, and to kind of see like, if somebody isn't a good fit. And also maybe like I can see like an objection formulating, and I can just go ahead and ask about it instead of waiting until we get to that part of the call, right? And, the less time that they spend with like a misunderstanding about what my offer is or my methods or something, the less time they spend in that misunderstanding, the less likely they are to actually have that objection, right? But if that objection lives in their head for, 15 minutes on the call and it hasn't been addressed, by the time we do address it, it's already kind of like become more real in their head, right? So those are just some of the reasons why I really like it. I refuse to sell high ticket to anybody who will not get on a call with me, and I refuse to buy from anybody. If, you want thousands of dollars from me, I'm down to pay to invest and do the work for the transformation. But if you can't make 20 minutes to get on a call with me, you're not getting a dime. And a lot of people have switched that. Let me know in the comments if you're like that. Like, will you buy high ticket now without actually having some kind of direct contact with the seller, like either in the DMs or on a call? Okay, so your homework. What would be the homework? I forgot to come up with a homework question for this. Let me know, like, how have you been selling? What was working for you before 2025? What did work for you in 2025? Were you selling, number one, you can put a 1 for automation, like funnels and email sequences. You can do 2 for DMs or 3 for sales calls, or maybe you're doing a combination of both. That's honestly what works the best. Okay, so in the next episode, I'm going to be talking about how you can get more sales with fewer leads. So how you can really optimize your messaging and your messaging and your offers and everything to attract higher quality leads that don't need convincing and they don't need months to make a decision. So make sure that you come back for episode 201. Yeah, this is one, episode 2, where I'm talking about highly qualified lead profiles. You're ready to buy leads, refining your target marketing, because the scattershot, just like trying to get a whole bunch of leads and then just convert anybody that you can, it's not really working anymore. It's now it's about being specific and attracting higher quality leads so that you can work less, make more sales with fewer leads. All right. So I'm Heather Wylde. This is the High Ticket Sales 2026 podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. Please like, comment, and share. And you can put the word planner down below, and I will send you a link to a 2026 business planner, Google fillable doc, and you can submit it to me for free feedback because I really want you to actually get some progress and real value out of this podcast. So thanks for being here. I'll see you in episode 2.